Our tale unfolds the night before, the morning of Christmas dawning. A place you've seen may be next door. The story tells of our wanting. If you look close, then you will see a reflection of your yearning. Hard times are these, but hear our plea. Listen and begin discerning.
Sam was so Scroogey and weary. She was lost, forsaken, alone. Her life was lonely and dreary. Each day she would wake with a groan.
Sam wasn't alone in this place. The world was at odds, as you'll see. People were lost without grace. Anger made them all disagree. And if this was not quite enough, families not able to gather, isolation at home was rough. Each day they were growing sadder. Sam's tale begins with dark and fog. The temp was low and decreasing. Sam in her home adds just one log to the fire, barely releasing.
No comfort, no joy of Christmas. Sam felt no holiday spirit. She sat in her chair so listless. The darkness, she did not fear it. All this stirred her Christmas dislike. She scorned love and joy so distraught. She missed the bright and shining light of Jesus and the gift he brought.
An old friend came Christmas Eve night, a spirit from beyond the grave, to warn of ghosts revealing light. Facing their truth, Sam must be brave. The task that night, receive the gift, or living would be unfulfilled, forever aimless and adrift. What if a new life she could build?
Her first insight came at midnight, and the spirit of Christmas passed. She awakened to chimes in fright. Sam sat up and sleepily asked, "What is it you have to tell me?" She spoke with a trembling sneer, then offered a desperate plea for the spirit to disappear.
The spirit said, "Sam, come with me. There is much that I have to show. Take hold of my hand, you will see a magical sight to behold." With that, the spirit led the way to a stable so rude and bare, where the infant Christ child lay, with his parents nearby to care. Do you know who the child is? A gift to the world he will be, showing God's love and how he lives. God's light is the precious baby.
An infant so small and brand new, it's hard to imagine he's great. What conceivably could he do? What role does he play in our fate?
Be still for a moment and rest. Marvel on this wondrous sight. It's not every day that you're blessed by the light shining in the night. Just then shepherds came rushing in, telling of a glorious song. The angels sang for all their kin of the child to whom all belong.
Sam wondered what all of this meant. The spirit would not say a word. Before she could question, they went. The stable vanished and blurred.
The baby, once small and brand new, had become a thoughtful grown man, healing, teaching a crowd he drew, leading and following God's plan.
Preaching and healing many sick doesn't seem important from here. A bit of an interesting trick. Why is this one man held so dear?
To this the kind spirit replied, her eyes gleaming with warmth and love. His impact is seen when he's died, new life he will bring from above.
The seashore and spirit disappeared, and back in the room she did settle. Sam ready to sleep, but she feared others would show up to meddle.
Correct was Sam in her thinking. A spirit all jolly and large sat on a table unshrinking, abundance and giving his charge. The spirit he spoke with great joy, inviting Sam into the night, to show Jesus his love with his ploy, and guide Sam to see God's true light.
They traveled to places Sam knew, sad and lonely people they saw. Angry, hopeless, each day they grew, weary in a world filled with flaws.
Except there was more there to see, a young girl delivering hope, a bundle of cards made with glee, joy given to help people cope. Another had baked up some bread and gifted it to someone ill. In this way their kindness did spread, Jesus' great love evident still. A third kind soul was giving food to a pantry where there was need. Just as he left, a hungry brood offered gratitude for his deed.
These simple small acts of faith showed a picture Sam couldn't believe, potential in all to bestow peace which the world desperately needs. As understanding settled in, Sam found herself back in her bed, her mind full of visions, and then the last spirit hovered overhead. Excited for what he would show, Sam took the spirit by the hand. Surprised by the absence of glow, empty was the place she did stand. The church was quiet and eerie. Poor Sam stood there shaking her head. Had nothing changed was her query. She wished she had stayed in her bed.
Once again, Sam needed the light, the bright spirit clearing the gray, pointing beyond out of her sight to God's people living the way. Church was empty for good reason. The faithful were doing God's work. The lessons learned in the season, togetherness they did not shirk.
Sam marveled at all their labor, seeing how actively their cares, living the love for each neighbor. Sam's heart swelled and her eyes filled with tears.
Seeing how great her emotion, the Spirit helped Sam see God's grace, stirring within her devotion, desire to follow apace.
Thank you, kind spirits, for showing hope that I desperately needed. The Lord's work is gracefully glowing. The world will rejoice for having heeded the call of God to love one another, even when great darkness surrounds. Great love we have for our brother, our sister, and all who are around. God's love is still visible now, even when darkness surrounds us. I see that this baby is how God's presence is still here with us.
The Christ child changes everything. Hope, love, and promise are in him. We are changed by the love he brings, the light shining that does not dim. So go out, find people who hear the tale that we have with you shared. For light you can reflect and bear, to the world show how much God cares.